had failed to agree a deal which would allow Trafalgar Theatres to continue operating the Beck Theatre. Despite repeated claims from LBH claiming they want to see the venue continue to operate, their actions have consistently contradicted this rhetoric. Trafalgar Theatres were forced to walk away from negotiations when LBH rejected their ambition to run the theatre on a zero subsidy basis on a 3-year trial, saving the council £270,000 a year. They were prepared to run the venue on a break-even basis at best because they know just how much the Beck means to the community. We communicated over the last week that LBH had shown some engagement in responding to a new proposal to run the Beck Theatre from January as a non-profit organisation. That proposal sought to remove any formal subsidy in exchange for a long-term lease. As a non-profit organisation, the venue would have been able to build a comprehensive fundraising and development strategy underpinned by a commercial subsidiary to manage all the commercial aspects of the organisation. We believe contact was first made with LBH on the 10th of October requesting a meeting. LBH responded positively the following day and an initial proposal was submitted on the 14th of October. Follow-up questions were received and answered on the 17th of October. An updated proposal was submitted ahead of a detailed and constructive meeting on the 24th of October. Since then, the potential new operators have been pushing for a response in order to begin finalising a deal to kick off the process for decoupling with Trafalgar and getting things in place ready for a seamless transition in the new year. On Wednesday the 30th of October, less than 72 hours ago, they were given an assurance that they would receive a response from LBH on a final decision that required full authorisation before next steps could be taken. LBH hoped to come back to them by the end of that day. That evening, I contacted them on behalf of the campaign, and as of 8 PM that evening, no further response had been received, so we felt the need to call out the critical position on their behalf. The following morning, we received a statement from LBH to say that they had appointed a commercial theatre consultant to support its procurement for a long-term operator for the Beck Theatre in Hayes. They said, the council has been seeking to negotiate a new lease with Trafalgar Theatres for them to continue its management of the facility at a peppercorn rent, with the council being responsible for essential repairs and maintenance. They went on to claim that Trafalgar had insisted that the council pay an ongoing subsidy, which was palpably not the case. Their statement closed to say that in the absence of an agreement, Trafalgar's contract with the council will cease on the 30th of January and the Beck Theatre will close while the consultants seek new management. We warned from the outset that LBH has every intention of closing the venue, and the council is being disingenuous in its statement and reporting of the situation. We have been warning for some time that their intention was to keep the Beck Theatre shut for good in order to sell the land to developers. If the venue closes its doors in January, it will shut for good. There will be no staff, there will be no programmes, there will be no equipment, and there will be no audiences. The condition of the building will also deteriorate, making it impossible to find another viable operator. It will be taken over by squatters, and it will become the victim of an arson attack, giving the justification for a permanent closure. If the venue were to close, it would take a minimum of 6 months to reopen it, and up to 12 months if the team and programme go. And as it stands, staff will enter redundancy consultations and will not be there to keep the building open. Hillingdon Council do not acknowledge that there were other options presented to them beyond the deal with Trafalgar, which would allow the venue to run as a non-profit organisation requiring no subsidy to secure an arts and culture offer for the community. And so the breakdown of those talks is not a reason for where we now find ourselves. They have simply been delaying and delaying in order to force a permanent closure. Hillingdon Council have refused to engage with our campaign or provide any clarity, and the current staff, who rely on the Beck for their livelihood, are in limbo. Councillor Ian Edwards, leader of the council, will not talk to us or arrange any form of public consultation. In fact, he is running scared from engagement within the community, and he is cancelling attendances at surgeries he's obliged to attend.
Coward! Absolute coward!
The Beck Theatre is a lifeline to so many in the community and provides essential enrichment through its creative learning programme which includes the community choir, the Beck Summer Project, the Beck Youth Theatre and support for countless charities. The Beck is in an area of acute deprivation and is in one of the most ethnically diverse parts of West London. The Beck has harnessed this and has been able to bring people together from all backgrounds to cultivate a sense of belonging, and their diverse programme reflects this. In a year where we've seen race riots and divisiveness across our country, we need places like the Beck to bring people together, and we cannot allow Hillingdon Council to turn its back on the residents of Granada. And so we have to continue to fight for the Beck's survival. It is a lifeline to so many. We need LBH to U-turn on their decision and to present a plan that safeguards this venue. Alfred Beck commissioned this theatre for the community. The council might own the land, but the building belongs to us, the community. We're its current custodians and we owe ourselves to deserve it. The Beck Theatre survived an attempted IRA bombing back in the 90s, and yet its current threat is a bomb that's being hurled directly from the Civic Centre. This is an outrage. We must hold our politicians to account, and whilst there is still a glimmer of hope, we must continue to fight for what we have, because once it's gone, it's not coming back. I'd like to invite to speak a few words John McDonald, the MP.
So first of all, say thanks to Jonathan and all the campaigners that have come together. I also say thanks to those councillors who have come today as well and have been with us throughout this campaign. I'm really grateful for that. When the leader of the council refuses to meet us, those councillors that are supporting, I think, deserve our thanks on our behalf. I won't repeat what I've said before, but I just want to go back a little bit, because the more we discuss and consider this and the more information we get, the more you realise that this was a trajectory that was planned a lot longer than just these last few months. Because when Trafalgar were looking to, and we're not here on behalf of the company or anything like that, we're here on behalf of the community. But from what we learn now is that when Trafalgar started to approach the council to look at the renewal of the lease and the longer lease arrangements, they were then told that and this was over 12 months ago, they were then told that the council were going through the development of their cultural strategy, and as a result of that, delayed the negotiations. So it delayed and delayed and delayed, and most of us never knew about this until quite late on, maybe 8 or 9 weeks ago. And what perplexed me at the time, exactly as Jonathan said, I thought, well, if they're developing a cultural strategy for the area, the community, Hillingdon overall, the Beck is one of the most important resources to draw upon in developing that cultural strategy. So therefore, I thought any rational development of a strategy would be based, certainly on the south of the borough, but I think for the whole of the borough, on looking at those assets, seeing that the Beck was one of those key assets, and then building upon that. So I just thought the negotiations with Trafalgar were just a technicality. Like anything, you negotiate, don't you? You negotiate around price and all the rest of it. And if Hillingdon were trying to get more out of Trafalgar, that's fair enough. That's a negotiation. But then when we discovered that Trafalgar was actually put on the table will run without a subsidy, most of us were then completely perplexed why the council didn't immediately, as we've said before, grab that hand, because it was such a big deal. That's why I think it is at that point we became suspicious, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but most of us thought this is irrational. There's something going on here that maybe we don't know about. Now, what worries us all is that there's been a lack of dialogue, a lack of communication. And the times that Jonathan, the campaigner, invited Ian Edwards as the leader of the council to meet them demonstrates that refusal to even engage in a discussion with the local community. Now look, as an MP and as a local councillor, you have a fiduciary duty. You have a responsibility to engage with your local community, and you have a responsibility, moral, political, even legal, to represent that community. How can you represent them when you don't even talk to them and you refuse to meet them? That cannot be right. I just even at this late stage to Ian Edwards, the leader of the council, meet the group. Come and talk to the community. Tell us what your real objectives are. Tell us what you think is the next steps for the Beck. Because I think he needs to go face to face, but actually just how important the Beck is to us. And he needs to know face to face as well. We're not going away. We're not going to allow the Beck to close. We're not going to allow them to sell it off. We're not going to allow them to destroy this wonderful community asset. So over this next few weeks, all of us will be putting as much pressure as we possibly can on the council to come to us now and talk. If they've appointed the consultants, I don't know who they are, we're willing to meet those consultants to talk through the options that they are. We want a constructive relationship with the council. To be honest, you want to be performing or attending performances. You don't need to want to perform in the street every month, do you? So all we want is a constructive engagement with the council to talk about the next steps. But the bottom line of those conversations always has to be the Beck will survive. It will be a community asset for the long-term future for generations to come, because we will not allow them to sell it off and destroy this community asset.
As you can imagine, this is a pretty torrid time for the venue. They're faced with a massive amount of uncertainty. They don't know what's happening. It's been a roller coaster of emotions for them. So I'm really grateful that Steve has been able to come and talk to us today.
Good morning, everyone. I've not prepared a speech. I've not prepared anything, because right now it's difficult to know what to say. When over the past few months, so much has happened and so little has changed. But what I can tell you is that leading the Beck has been the privilege of my life. Working alongside such extraordinary colleagues and enriching the lives of such extraordinary communities has given me the proudest moments of my life. So I am the director of the Beck. I don't know for how much longer that will be true. But it's true now. So while I'm the director of the Beck, while I have that job, and while I have this voice, there are two things I want to say. Firstly, thank you. From the bottom of my heart, and on behalf of every single member of my team, thank you. Everybody who has signed a petition, who has turned up to have their voice heard, who has given out a plaque, who has told a friend, who has bought a ticket at the Beck, thank you. If the Beck is to survive, know this. It is because of you. It is because of you that we are here today. It is because of you that we are still open, and that we are still selling tickets, and that we are still looking forward to what will be an incredible Christmas time this year. It is because of you. And the second thing that I want to say today as director of the Beck is that for as long as I am the director of the Beck, I will do everything in my power to continue to protect the Beck for the communities that we have served for nearly 50 years. I will continue to speak on your behalf everywhere that I can, and I will continue in every action that I take to ensure that our doors are open and our lights are on for generations to come. For as long as I am the council has said the Beck will close. Let's prove them wrong.
Thank you, Steve. I've got to say, from bottom of my heart, Steve has been a complete rock to his staff, to everybody that's been associated with the Beck. This is possibly the worst experience that they probably have to endure throughout their whole careers. They've gone through COVID. We thought COVID was going to be the worst thing that they had to endure. This pales into, well, COVID pales into insignificance when you compare it to what's going on at the moment. Nobody knows what's happening, the council won't communicate, and the problem is that with the uncertainty, just days roll by, good news after bad news, and they can't take any more of it. So thank you to all the Beck team, they are phenomenal. As Steve has said, we're going to continue, from as far as the campaign is concerned, and as Steve has mentioned, the only thing that we can do now is to campaign. We can fight, we can push this to the council. There is a cabinet meeting coming up, there's a council meeting coming up. We are exploring a number of options, but we really rely on you, the community, to support us. Without you turning up, without you being part of this campaign, we have nothing. So when we say that we need to do a demonstration, we need to rally to protest outside the Civic Centre, when we need to look at other options, please be there for us, and just please continue to spread the word, because every person here counts. Hopefully we're going to get some really good coverage today. This is the intention for today, to get this out into national press and make people really realise what the venue means, and like we've all been saying this morning, we will win this. Thank you very much.